Hi there and welcome to our GTV preview show for the race meeting at Turffontein on Sunday the 16th of June, our Father's Day stroke Youth Day race meeting, and joining us on the line, as always for Highveld race meetings, welcome Alistair Cohen.
Yeah, Graham, good day to you. Good day to all the listeners and all the viewers. Trust that everything is well. Just less than 3 weeks now away from the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. This card on Sunday, I found quite trappy. The Bipot's my suggested bet, and I haven't found a banker. It looks a little less complicated than the Thursday card, which resulted in a pick six carryover at the Big T. And well, hopefully we strike this one right, because we just need one exotic to land to make it a memorable Father's Day and Youth Day, which sounds like a little bit of almost a paradox.
Father's Day and Youth Day, yeah, does the two is, as you say, a bit of a paradox. But let's get straight into it with the first of 9 races off at 12:05. It is the Happy Father's Day Maiden Juvenile Plate over 1,600 metres. So the 2-year-old's going the mile. Number 2, Diwali Rocket has got blinkers. Number 3, Guerrilla Warfare's at 11-2. Number 4, I Belong, is at 9-2. Number 7 is at 7-1. Your dominant favourite is number 8, Jilted, at 12-10 for Elson and Zilana. And then number 9, Party Punch, at 7-1. Well, Jilted, improving with each and every run. Is he entitled to be that short in the market, Alistair?
Yeah, I'm keen on her here, Graham. Had apprentice Sianda Sasibo last time from draw 11 out of 11 over 14.50 on the inside track. You just don't win races from there. And she came with a storming late run. She now got Craig Zaki from a better draw, stepping up to a mile for the first time. Her running style's like she'll get the mile with her eyes closed. What is a little bit of a worry is that, I don't know whether it's a worry or not, but it lingers in the back of one's mind, is that the full brother, a horse called And Action, was beaten at odds on at Fairview on Friday, and that's still been a bitter pill to swallow. But with that said, Jilted at least is going along the right way. It looks like all is in her favour. Being a filly, taking on 3/4 of the field being male, she gets a nice generous 3 kilograms sex allowance, which I think could well set her up nicely. I think the horses that probably pose the biggest danger, also like number 4, I Belong, second run after arrest, last time beaten 5 1/4 lengths by Wahid, who went close up in the gate crasher at Hollywoodbets Greyville just over a week ago. I respect his chances under Richard Fourie. I think number 3, Guerrilla Warfare, brings some reasonable 2-year-old form into the picture, having run behind some boom 1,000-metre 2-year-olds trained by Tony Peter, and also finishing on the coattails of the nursery winner Fire Attack in the run to Address the Nation. If he doesn't need the run badly and the blinkers have a desired effect, I can see him running nicely on the back of a break under Muzi Yeni. But there's no doubt number 8, Jilted, the horse to beat. Work around her and your bets to start the day the right way.
Certainly number 3, Guerrilla Warfare, an interesting runner, having not raced since January, so keep an eye on the market. And as you say, and as you heard there from Alistair Cohen, the blinkers have been added, but the signs all point to number 8, Jilted. I'm not sure you want Jilted to be winning on Father's Day, but does look the part. Second race, first leg of the Bipot, the racing today, juvenile plate for fillies over 1,160 metres. We've had one scratching, number 8, To Doc. The current betting, number 1, Force 8 at 3-1. Number 2, Gimme Fabulous, 3-1. The favourite is number 3, Pointer from the Alec Laird stable at 2-1. 4, Queen of Fire is at 7-1. And the first timer, number 6, Physiologist, is at 5-1. Now you've gone with 3 runners in the opening leg of the Bipot, which we will obviously wrap up and sum up towards the end of the show. But which is your first choice?
I was hoping you weren't going to ask out of the 3. You'd probably go with number 2, Gimme Fabulous here, Graham, under Richard Fourie. Her and Force 8 pretty much in the same boat, perhaps more emphatically number 2, Gimme Fabulous, having run with the opposition that she ran with last time. She ran with boys and over 1,200 metres for the first time, and coming back from a break. There was nothing to like about Gimme Fabulous in my book last time. She ran okay. She'd been in the green zone at her penultimate start in the green zone, finally got out the maidens during the week at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. All that sets up well, I think, for number 2, Gimme Fabulous, and with a fear of trepidation, not with the most confidence in the world. I'd tip her on top. Number 1, Force 8, Warrants Respect, also having run with older company last time, beaten by Little Ballerina at her penultimate start at the Vile. The second horse ran okay, grade 1 level on the Alan Robertson at Hollywoodbets Scottsville. So I've got a bit of time for number 1, Force 8. And number 3, Pointer, she can only improve. She's got more improvement to come than numbers 1 and 2, Graham. She beat Oxalis Gold last time. Oxalis Gold came out and framed that form a couple of weeks later. Alec Laird trains Diego de Gavea, takes her out, drawn on what's perceived to be the right side of the track, although I think on a fast track during winter at Turffontein, I don't think the bias is all that evident. But with that said, Pointer at least is going in the right direction, and I'm a little bit surprised to see her at the top of the boards, although I have respect for her. So 1, 2 and 3 for me in the first leg of the Bipot, taking no chances. Watch the marker on number 6, Physiologist, gets the right of Gavin Larena. 5, Emblem of the Sun, perhaps a horse to respect for trifectas and quartets, but I do prefer the stable companion from the match at yard.
So that's a wrap for the first leg of the Bipot. We move on to race 3 of 9 on the Turffontein stand side. It's a maiden plate over 1,800 metres, due off at 1:15. It is the first leg of the place accumulator. Let's go through the betting and the card changes quickly. Number 1, Whistle Down, 7-2. Number 2, Spirit in the Wind is 8-1. 3, Villa Samaya, no blinkers. They come off, but the cheek pieces go on. Number 5, Chicago Lass is 7-1. Form update for Chicago Lass. Ran 7th, beaten nearly 10 lengths by Oh My Gucci Girl on the 13th of June. Number 7, Enchanted Royal, gets the blinkers. And your overwhelming favourite is number 9, Tipperary. Now, earlier on you said, Alistair, you've got no bankers in the Bipot. When you look at the betting suggests that number 9, Tipperary, could well be a banker, but you've covered with number 2, Spirit in the Wind.
Graham, this is not strong by any stretch of the imagination, but Tipperary, I'm horribly uneasy about a 2-year-old going 1,800 metres this soon. So that's what lingers in the back of my mind. If there are any vulnerabilities, is that this race might just come a little bit too soon, especially with the fact that she can go handy. It's whatever happens is going to be a hard run for number 9, Tipperary. If she were to win despite the level of the field, I would give her a lot of credence going forward, but it's still going to be something that just doesn't sit well with me. So I've backed her up with number 2, Spirit in the Wind, who's got ordinary form, but her last 2 runs have been better. Last run to Oxalis Gold, although finishing further behind than her penultimate start behind Honourable Member, I'd venture to say that was a better run. She seems to have found a little bit of life after being tested over a little bit further, being by the United States out of a Duke of Marmalade mare. Can't fault that thinking. 1, Whistle Down, also improved a little bit over the extended trip, but I think Spirit in the Wind might have a little bit more to come. So what I'm trying to say is she might represent a little bit of swinger trifecta exacta value with number 9, Tipperary. But if Tipperary gets beaten, then I'll be closing my eyes and hoping that Spirit in the Wind can get into the top 2 for Bipot purposes.
Yeah, the 2-year-old Tipperary aside, and they don't have official ratings. If you look at the average merit rating of this field, 59, it's certainly quite shallow, the first leg of the place accumulator. So 2 and 9 there for Alistair. As we move forward to the first leg of the pick 6, a maiden plate over 1,800 metres. It's off at 13.50. 1, Douglas Dragon is at 7-2. Number 2, American Rebel at 22-10. 3, Eremitage or Eremitage is at 4-1, along with number 4, Master TikTok at 4-1. The only other runner quoted in single figures is number 5, Main Mission. And the only update for the program is that number 8, Captain Barboza. No earmuffs, the pacifiers go on. What on earth went wrong with Douglas Dragon last time?
I have absolutely no idea. I have no explanation, neither does the vet. So I'm in the open there. Richard Fareed takes over from Pierre Stradom. I'm still in the credit with Douglas Dragon because on Work Riders Day on the 11th of April, I spotted him as a gin strike, and he ran a lovely race, finishing second to the formless Future Africa, which he backed up next time, running second to Dark Silver. I'd say that the last run was probably more of the exception rather than the norm for number 1, Douglas Dragon. So I'll give him another chance or 2. No good thing by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm happy with my 3 runners in the Bipot. And I must be honest, maybe it's an element of greed, but I'm going to go with a box trifecta here. So 1, Douglas Dragon, very much in the race. Number 2, American Rebel's got an awkward draw to overcome. His anti-penultimate run to Mastership, who came out and won the Egoli Mile a week earlier, stands out as being a very good level level of form. That was the catalyst for him turning his career around after trying a mile for the first time. He runs like he'll get this extra furlong, so he's bang on the race as well with a little bit of luck from the deepest draw. He's very much alive. And I like number 3, Arimitage. Pierre Stradham's gone with this one. Ran behind 2-year-old Zip Code last time, who didn't rip up any trees at his last start. But I think that he's also open to being better over this trip, Graham, and I'm going to say that he might be set up to run his best race to date. So 1, 2, and 3 for me, my numbers in the bar pot. Like I said, I'm going to box up a trifecta in this race with those 3 horses. I know that they all dominate the market here, and we'll probably chip away with a small profit if they were to run into that order. Top choice, I'm actually going to go with Stradham's ride, number 3, Arimitage.
Arimitage, the top choice. Just one quick last question regarding the first leg of the pick 6. You're going 1, 2, 3 in the bipod. Would you throw in number 4, Master TikTok, who's been consistent of late, into the pick 6?
No, he's had his chances. He's had his chances, I think, in more shallow races than this. He's also got an awkward draw, Graham. If I were to go with one other, I'd probably go with the Tony Peter runner, Orunyamun, number 11 on the card. But he'd need to improve, but he would be my next if there were to be a next.
Race finally, first leg of Jackpot 1, a classified stakes over 1,100 metres, off at 14.25. They're throwing the kitchen sink at number 1, Spring Palace. Compression mask goes on, tongue tie goes on, earmuffs go on. Number 3, Heirloom. Caden Brewer's picked up the ride. Form update for number 6, Knock 'Em Stiff. Ran 6 behind Circus Lights, beaten only 3.6 lengths. Number 9, Enchanting Lady, the tongue tie goes on. A quick look at those in single figures. Number 2, Golden Chandelier, in a wide open race, is at 9-2. Recent maiden winner, Lucy, at 13-2. Enchanting Lady, number 9, is at 5-1. Number 10, Simply Magic, co-favourite at 9-2. 12, Raining Rubies at 8-1. And 13, Della's Sword at 7-1. Not an easy race to dissect. So where do we go here, Alistair?
I just want to start with number 1, Spring Palace. I don't like him at all, Graham, but interesting that you refer to the kitchen sink being thrown at the son of Patala Palace. I think he's actually got a reasonable amount of ability, but he's lost the plot in the starting stalls. He's impossible to load. Sometimes he doesn't jump. He can do funny things, but if the equipment all works for number 1, Spring Palace, and I hope it doesn't work enough for him to win the race, just from purely selfish perspective that I don't like him, but if he does show a bit of life on the back of a further rating drop, he's a horse that could pop up on my radar soon at a big price. So I'm almost hoping for him to sort of behave, run a nice 4th or 5th, and maybe we can follow him next time out. My bar pot numbers here are 2, 9, and 10. Number 2, Golden Chandelier, the 2-year-old, tries 1,100 metres for the first time. She's out and out speed, as she's shown in all her runs to date. On a fast track, she might be able to get away with the extra 100 metres. My logic with number 2, Golden Chandelier, is I actually have a bit of time for the stable companion, the new arrival to Tony Peter, number 11, Dual Agent. Calvin Habib can do 54.5, but he's gone with a 2-year-old, number 2, Golden Chandelier. So I gain a little bit of solace from that. And then 9 and 10, the other horses that go into the play. Enchanting Lady, I know Fanny Bronkhorst is almost frustrated that this filly's a one-time winner because she shows a lot more, but she's terribly consistent. She'll run a nice race. That's just what she does. Gavin Lorena takes her ride. And then number 10, Simply Magic, again with the Brett Crawford runners. I think Della's Sword has also not got her legs tied up off a light weight, and Cabello Mazzaniani's gone with number 10, Simply Magic, who moves down to the start poorly. She's beaten Golden Chandelier before. She's waited to stay in front of Golden Chandelier. Plus, she's also got an outside draw, which, if anything is going to suit, that will suit. So third, number 10, Simply Magic, is my top choice. 2 and 9, the backup, but I do have respect for the stable companions of 2 of those horses, the 11 and 13. If you're going with the pick 6, put those in, and perhaps anything else that might strike a chord with you.
Not an easy race, race 5, as we move ahead to race 6, which is due for 3 o'clock. MR82 handicap over 1,800 metres. Wonder if they're going to rename this horse. Number 1, Trois Quatre, is at 7-2. Number 2, Pocket Watch, is at 3-1. 3, Weather Wizard at 7-1. 5, Celtic Rush at 9-2. And number 9, Mocha Frappe, is at 9-2. Those are the runners quoted in single figures. We record, obviously, for the Sunday meeting on a Saturday morning, more than 24 hours ahead of the start of the race meeting. And at this early stage, there are no changes to race 6. So here we go, handicap 82, 1,800 metres. Actually looks like quite a nice race.
Very nice race, Graham. Ironic that Twa Cuts, ridden by Richard Ferree, who will go into this meeting on Twa Cuts 0, somewhere around that. 2 and 5 for me, Graham. Pocket Watch and Celtic Rush. Pocket Watch finished in front of Celtic Rush last time, but Celtic Rush has got a better draw. If anything could go wrong to Celtic Rush last time, everything went wrong. From the draw, he couldn't overcome it. He was trapped out deep. He went into the corner exposed. He was without cover. It was actually a far better run than what the 2 1/4 length margin suggests. Things cannot go worse. I don't think they're going to be perfect from draw 8 out of 9, but they cannot go worse. So what I'm saying is I think Celtic Rush is going to finish much closer to number 2, Pocket Watch. But Pocket Watch is on the improve. He's been in my black book for quite a long time. He finally got the job done last time, and he actually looked the goods when beating Nordic Rebel. He came out of that run with a £5 penalty. I'd venture to say that he's probably above that. He's got some good numbers to his name. He's been drawn on the wrong side of the track at the Vaal a couple of times where he's run okay considering. I think with that confidence up, he could be a horse that can back up on that penalty. But 2 and 5 for me in this race. For me, one of the races on the card that I'm most looking forward to because of all the different dynamics. The pace is likely to be on with number 3, Where the Wizard. God knows what happened last time. It was a horrible run from Where the Wizard. I think he's got a propensity of throwing in that odd howler from time to time. He's capable of winning. He's capable of going completely missing, is number 3, Where the Wizard. And also I think number 9, Mocha Frappe, has got a little bit of untapped potential. He tries 1,800 meters for the first time in his life. He could be up to the task, but I'm comfortable with my numbers here, 2 and 5. I think Pocket Watch will just hold number 5, Celtic Rush, just on the fact that Pocket Watch is improving.
So there we go. That's race 6 as we move on to race 7. Pinnacle Stakes, 1,160 meters, 15:35. This is the final leg of the Bipot. Number 1, Mover and Shaker, is at 4-1. 3, Captain Hindsight, 8-1. 4, Taken Naught is at 6-1. 5, Power Broker is at 5-1. Number 7, the Africa House, who scored a well overdue victory last time at a reasonable price at 7-2. 9, Silent War is at 3-1. That's knocking loudly at the door. It is a Pinnacle Stakes. The best weighted column often helps us in these kind of races, doesn't do much to assist us, and it looks quite competitive. So take us through it.
Very interesting races, Graham. I've gone 1 and 7 in my Bipot, Mover and Shaker and the Africa House. Mover and Shaker, of course, the winner of the Tommy Hotspur at the start of March, was an excellent start to finish win on a sticky track drawn towards the inside, which is obviously not where you want to be, especially on a sticky track, and had enough pace to beat a Pico, who's a very good 1,000-meter horse, giving a Pico weight. 1160 might be a little bit of a question mark because he is an out-and-out sprinter. The old cliche, you can give weight, but you can't give starts and sprints, I think rings true here. And I've been a big fan of Mover and Shaker along the way, along his career. And his last run, his penultimate run, the computer form sprint, might have been a bridge too far. But I like to believe, like shown in his last run, Pinnacle level, that this horse, Mover and Shaker, is up to the task. If he is going to get anything more than 1,000 meters, this is probably the time for him to show it. Number 7, the Africa House, still never running a handicap. This is one horse I'd love to have a discussion with a handicapper with, but with that said, he was proven to be correct last time and got away with no penalty because of the fact he was the best weighted horse in a graduation plate. It's also his 3rd run after arrest. I think that win's going to do him a world of good confidence-wise, Graham. He's always been a horse that's been very frustrating. He won his debut at the Vaal, and looked like he was going to be one of those fresh, precocious 2-year-olds that might do a bit of damage in his 2-year-old career, and he got close without getting his big payday. I think now with confidence up, I know that Sianda Sasibo puts up 1 kilogram, but 51 kilos for a horse that I think is capable, not always willing, but capable. He's dangerous, number 7, the Africa House. He's going to be receiving how much? 9 kilograms from number 1, Mover and Shaker. I think he's up to the task of getting very, very close here. 2 horses for me, numbers 1 and 7.
They do look the right ones, Alistair. And if you look at what Africa House has run behind, I mean, there's some great names there. Some great current names: Purple Pitcher, Main Defender, Time for Orchids, Sandringham Summit, Barbaresco. They're all horses that the Africa House has run behind. He's kept 51 on his back for the 1 kilo over by Sasibo, but receives 9 from Mover and Shaker. You've heard it all there from Alistair Cohen. It should be a good race as well as we go to the 8th race, which is a middle stakes. 2,400 meters, penultimate race in the card, goes off at 16:15. That's the first leg of the last double. At this stage, all 11 run. And there are no card changes. Number 1, Razor Hallelujah, back in top form, is at 9-2, but does have the steadier of 62 on its back. Number 2, Breeze Over, is at 4-1. 320 Drachmas is at 5-1. 4 Prime Example is 8-1. And number 8, Mambo Camtesio, receives 8 kilograms from Razor Hallelujah. Runs second in its last 2 starts, ideally distance suited, is number 8, Mambo Camtesio, the principal threat to Candace's runner, Razor Hallelujah.
I think number 2 and number 3 are also in the race, Graham. It's not straightforward, but what I can report is that Razor Hallelujah is so fresh, so well, so happy, and he's thriving at home. Richard Faree takes a ride. Second time he steps on this horse. He rode this horse to a second many moons ago, I think, when trained by Gavin van Zyl. The son of Quarari's come alive. He went back to basics at his penultimate start over 2,000 metres in exactly the same race, a middle stakes, where he carried 62 kilograms. He was dropped in by Raymond Danielson. That was actually a race just to see if there was any signs of life, because he turned the corner after the Caradoc Gold Cup, and if he had not run the same type of race, it would have been an awkward discussion with the connections. But he came out of that race running on strongly, did everything right. There were smiles all around. Backed that up in the Lonsdale Stirrup Cup with a good second behind Down to Business. Did nothing wrong. Outrun by a horse who just came from behind him, and looks like he's got a few nice races to come during the remainder of champion season over a long trip. So he's doing very well. And what he's got that his main Daniels don't have is a reasonable draw. Breeze Over, very good stay up, drawn out in the bush. You know exactly where he's going to go. He's going to shoot off, go off to the front. He can be a difficult horse to peg back on his day. On the run in the Caradoc Gold Cup, he's got Razor Hallelujah stone cold, but the tactics that Razor Hallelujah employed didn't work out. They were all wrong on that occasion. Number 320 Drachma was probably outgunned in the Grade 1 South African Derby. Better run in the middle stakes last time, behind Home of the Brave. He's alive, but he too's got a bit of an awkward draw. I think he's running because of a paucity of races going forward, or paucity of options going forward over this type of trip. It's not the Pettigrew style. And then number 8, Mambo Camtesio. He doesn't win often. It's been exactly 1 year. Look at that. 1 year since he last won under Nathan Klink when beating Prime Example, who he meets again. He's waited to finish in front of Prime Example on that start. Second at his last 2 runs. On his last run, he should have the measure of number 320 Drachmas. Mambo Camtesio is definitely alive and kicking with a bit of a chance here, as is number 10 Vesuvio. The only time he tried this distance, he won. He beat miles weaker than what he meets today, but he's got 48 kilos on his back and with a 1 draw. He's dangerous for quartets, number 10 Vesuvio, definitely.
These are just the kind of races that Tyrone Zaki loves to win, so watch out for a big effort from number 10 Vesuvio under 48 kilograms. Apprentice Nastili did ride a winner again in Port Elizabeth just yesterday, that being Friday. So another very interesting competitive race, the 8th race, middle stakes over 2,400 meters. Quite a few that have claims to win it. The 9th and final race off at 1650 is a classified stakes, 1,400 meters. Number 1, Risori Finale is 4-1. Number 2, Houston is at 9-1. 3, Putin's Promise at 33-10. Number 10, Zip Code, the 2-year-old, is at 5-1. We've had 1 scratching in this race. Number 11, Anytime Champ. So that's the only change. I've given you the betting. Tricky end to a good day's racing at Turffontein on the Standside track this Youth and Father's Day, 16th of June. Ended up with a winner for us.
Oh, this is hard. This is very, very hard, Graham. I'll probably default to number 1, Rosario Finale, back over the same course and distance that he won as maiden. His breathing problems and his undoubted good looks are well documented, and I think it was a masterstroke by Washo Mowing to bring him back to 1,400 meters and put Stratum on and refit the tongue tie. I think it was just a perfect storm for the son of Ideal World. He didn't get a penalty for the win either, so he could come out here pretty well teed up of repeating a pretty good and solid effort, number 1 Rosario Finale, and I can see him going pretty well out the maidens. Number 2 Houston, this is the best he's been doing in a very long time. He is horribly frustrating to follow. He hasn't won in nearly 2 years, the son of the United States. He's doing well enough for me to recommend a top 3 as our swinger inclusion, number 2 Houston, but I couldn't have a bet on a horse that's probably flattered to deceive throughout his career. Pilasanda and Paulie takes the ride. I think Putin's Promise is probably just up a few levels now. I think he can run well, but I don't know if he can win the race. I think maybe the handicapper has half got him. If number 7, Majestic Touch, was drawn better, Graham, I'd recommend a big each way bet. He might still get into the top 3. Raymond Daniels and Roy Magner have struck up a pretty good relationship of late. His ratings come down from a 190 down to a 71. I think we one run away from having a good go at number 7, Majestic Touch. If he were to pop up, I'd probably be miffed with myself that I missed the boat. But I think he can get into the top 3, but he's very much on my radar now. So 7, Majestic Touch, 1, Rosario Finale, 2, Houston. Those probably the 3 numbers to work around. The 2-year-old is interesting for me, number 10, Zip Code. He was beaten out of sight last time. He's got Richard Free on board from a good draw. He beat Festival of Magic, who franked that form just the other day, but I don't really know what to make of that last run. Beaten 13 lengths is very, 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 very ordinary indeed. So I think he's a horse perhaps just to watch the market with before making an educated or uneducated choice about the Son of Global View.
So there we go. That's the 9-race program at Turffontein on the stand side. Let's wrap it all up with the summation of Alistair's Bipot. That's his chosen bet for the show. Alistair, take us through it.
So the Bipot begins on race number 2 at 20-1, Graham. 1, 2, and 3 in the first leg. Force 8, Gimme Fabulous and Pointer, but 2 and 9, Spirits in the Wind and Tipperary. Tipperary over this trip ought to win, but just doesn't sit well for me as a 2-year-old. By 1, 2, and 3, Douglas Dragon, American Rebel, and Arimitage. By 2, Golden Chandelier, 9, Enchanting Lady, and 10, Simply Magic, with number 10 being my top choice. 2 and 5, Pocket Watch and Celtic Rush. And the final leg of the Bipot, 1 and 7. Mover and Shaker in the Africa House.
Well, there we go. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Alistair, thanks very much for your contribution. As always, enjoy the long weekend.
Cheers, Graham. Same to you. Happy Father's Day and Happy Youth Day to all the listeners.
So that's a wrap for Turffontein Standside Track, Sunday the 16th of June. Thanks for joining us.